Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without any further ado, let's introduce Amy to Quentin Tarantino. Django.
Okay, so the story, kind of like your standard hero rescues the heroine.
Come on, it was not really the standard.
But hold on.
Okay.
I'm talking about the plot. Okay?
Yes.
The plot is pretty straightforward and standard.
I don't agree, but anyway.
I'll explain.
There are some twists and turns,
Of course there are nice twists and turns. There are nice twists and turns. Of course, because
do we agree at least that it's nice?
of course it's
It's
nice.
catchy.
Of course, I'm not saying.
Come on, it's a long movie, and it kept you there.
Yes.
It did.
Yes. No, it's nice. I'm not complaining at all. I'm just saying,
Okay.
that's not the thing that stands out to me as being interesting.
Okay,
Because it's more standard fare.
Okay.
What I found really interesting, a couple things. The first thing that jumped out at me right from the beginning, the first scene, even it showed up, and I wasn't sure. I mean, I noticed it then at the very beginning, but it was only as the movie started to progress that I recognized that that was not just a special effect for that moment, but it's kind of all the way through the movie. The way in which all the action, all the motion on screen is so choreographed and coordinated with the musical soundtrack material, which I'm almost reluctant to call it soundtrack because in a way it's more than that. It's like,
well, there's some names there, like John Legend. You don't know John Legend yet, but
I guess
Legend.
there was one or two that I recognized along the way.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I thought there was one that I recognized, but now I can't remember what it was. I had my mind in other places. But not necessarily well, yes, the musical selections were interesting. Partly because some of the choices were
the music was composed for the film.
Was so modern. Some of it was even like really rock, but the story itself and the visual elements were so, more like historical drama.
Yes.
And so there was this funny mix of,
like, the music didn't fit the time.
Yeah,
sometimes.
No, it doesn't fit the time. Well, many times in historical dramas I can take issue with that because I know the details of a lot of
them. But
still,
that was standing
out. It's not even pretending.
Yes.
It's not even trying.
No. Yes.
It's intentionally saying, let's use this really, really powerful piece, right? And then sometimes it would go to a different era or a different genre or style. He pulled music from all different types and styles. That was interesting to me.
Like for example, this scene.
But it was the way in which it was almost the entire movie was almost a choreographed dance to the music.
I remember once you said, I guess even the horses were galloping on the rhythm of the
it was almost like watching a Lipizzaner Stallion show, where they're doing their whole quadrille through the
well, at the end of the movie you did watch. Right now at the end of the movie, remember when he was just
but it's like it doesn't matter. Okay, the first place I noticed it, I said, was at the beginning when you see the slaves chained together walking in the dark, and it was just the music, and you don't even see all of the individual, you just see their shoulders, and their shoulders are just moving right in time. That was the first time I noticed it, and I thought, that's interesting, kind of a nice effect. But then I realized as the movie progressed, it really,
there was no accident.
There is no accident at all, and it's more than just a little touch here or there. It's like he placed it and coordinated it exactly
Mhm.
every step of the way. And it was interesting because you told me that Tarantino is a kind of a different
kind
type,
of a one of a kind.
one of a kind.
And of course, when Tarantino came in the scene, I pointed him
Yes.
out
Uh-huh.
to Amy. Said, "Look, this is the guy."
Yes. I see that he doesn't shy away from violence,
Oh,
but I
that's a different topic.
it was kind of a weird thing, actually. It was weird, and I think the way he handled the music had a big part to play in how I related to the violence. Because even though there were some incredibly brutal scenes, okay, there's one that I want to talk about, some ideas about it, where the dogs tear the slave. Gruesome, brutal, unthinkable, horrific, all the terrible words you can come up with.
But even to the point of
And I'm a bit, well, I'm kind of sensitive in that regard when I watch violence. Sometimes
yes,
I
yes.
have to take a break, or I have to say,
But it's even to the point of over exaggerating. Remember in one of the last scenes,
it's extreme.
when you have the shooting in the big house,
Yeah.
and there's one guy down on the floor, and as the other guys are shooting, you can hear when the bullet is coming.
Yeah.
It's the sound of a cannon
Yeah.
firing. It's like the body is the battlefield.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the way he uses the violence would very often, if I were watching a normal movie, I would find that level of violence really disturbing and uncomfortable. I think it's because the way he handled the music in this movie. I do. Because it took on more of a choreographed stage production feel. It felt unrealistic. And because it felt unrealistic, even though it's incredibly horrific and gruesome, at the same time, it didn't feel so bad. And that's a weird thing, but it's the way, I think it's the way everything was put together.
Look, it might sound strange, but every time I watch a Tarantino movie and we have this really disturbing scenes of violence.
This is my first time watching one. He has a whole list he wants me to watch.
I'm laughing. I don't know, it's a sort of a comedy style of violence.
Yeah,
because you can see that it's not for real. That's not the way things are really happening in real life.
Yes.
But the way he twists the scenes and presenting them,
the way he handles it and
borders comedy.
It kind of does. Yeah. It kind of, you could say that.
But it's like a black joke, a dark joke.
This one didn't feel so comedic. It felt more choreographed, staged, dramatized for the purpose of saying something, of making a point, rather than just saying, okay, enjoy all this gruesome.
Remember the scene when Django shoots and she is just punched, which is, of course, that's not the way things happen, but it's over exaggerated to the point of comedy.
Yeah, true. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So there are all these interesting things I noticed about the way the what I'm seeing on screen is relating to what I'm hearing and relating to what is being communicated. The way it was, I guess I've never watched a movie quite like this before. Yes. It was different, and I'm curious now to see another Tarantino movie. But
okay.
The scene that stood out to me, there were several, but one that really stood out to me as a really pivotal point in the story was that one where the dogs were tearing the guy up. And it wasn't so much because of that, But the whole movie starts with slaves completely powerless. And then the moment when Dr. Schultz arrives and all of that goes down there in the woods, and then he takes Django and then hands the gun to the other slaves as he's leaving.
Could you hold this for a moment? Thank you. Django, get up on that horse. Also, if I were you, I'd take that winter coat the dear departed Spick left behind.
And he has such panache and
Yes.
flair and style. You know, he's got such a personality, and it's all about Dr. Schultz, and it's all about him. And Django is just, I mean, okay, Dr. Schultz is helping and enabling, but still, it's about Dr. Schultz at that point in the story. And Django is just this hapless slave, which is going to be useful to Dr. Schultz for his
Mission. Yeah.
But and then you see he's intelligent, he learns quickly, he starts to catch a vision of what's possible, but still he is Dr. Schultz's, I could say, disciple. All the way up until that moment, standing on his high horse there in all his stylish outfit, and Dr. Schultz is in the carriage, and you know this whole thing is going down, and the moment when Django becomes the main character is that moment, and you suddenly see Django not as somebody who has things to learn and needs to build experience, but as somebody who has deep experience and familiarity.
And he owns the scene all of a sudden.
No, he won't. He's just tired of you toying with him is all. Matter of fact, so am I. But we ain't paying a penny for that pickaninny. Ain't got no use for him. Ain't that right, Doc? You heard him?
He doesn't just own the scene, but what was his comment? He's your property. He can do as you like, or something like that.
Seeing as you won't pay a penny for this pickaninny here, you won't mind me handling this nigga any way I see fit.
He's your nigga.
In other words, Dr. Schultz is cringing. He's about to lose.
He's almost lost.
Meal.
Yeah.
He's gone. And then his comment to Django's comment saying,
Your boss looks a little green around the gills for a blood sport like nigga fighting.
Nah. He just ain't used to seeing a man ripped apart by dogs is all.
You are used to it.
I'm just a little more used to Americans than he is.
It showed how incredibly, of course he was revolted, but at the same time, he knew that life, right? And he knew that life because of his own experience. And so it was nothing shocking to him to see this take place before him. And that was such a moment of, okay, Django is now the owner of the story. Django is far beyond his mentor's experience level. He is suddenly way ahead, and he is taking the reins. It doesn't matter what dynamics they play between them in this whole charade that they're putting on, but it is Django who owns the story. And it happened so quickly and so powerfully there in that scene that it was really significant in that way for the story. But the other thing is that comment, he's not used to the ways of Americans, or whatever it was. I guess that was such, in a way, that was the message of the entire movie.
Yes.
It was the message of the entire movie. The way we are here is so brutal and so savage and so primitive that anybody from outside our little world really it's incomprehensible, the things that we do here. And of course it's in relation to slavery, right? It's all about
Yes.
slavery there. And a sort of commentary on the way that
Yes, and to complement this idea that from your perspective that's the main idea of the movie. It's also if you remember the scene when the slave owner is going through all this theory using the skull,
yes,
and that the Afro-Americans part of the skull there, which is for submissiveness,
is so much larger than their,
and okay,
all that nonsense.
that was the whole idea and the philosophy,
But
their
he's
philosophy.
so sure, he's so assured of it, he's so scientific, he's
Course, because
everything that he knows backs up his theory.
Yes, because that was let's say the engine behind their behavior and their lifestyle, the whites' lifestyle. And yet Tarantino, through the whole movie, makes the point that that's so not true. Because look at Django.
Look at Django.
He just cannot give up, and he will not give up. And even when he is surrounded and his wife says, look, just give up. Just give up. That's it. We have to accept. He has such a hard time doing it, and he does it just because he realizes that, well, there's no chance. I mean, we're going to die. If I don't surrender, we're going to die. So let's just hope.
Hope that something else comes up.
Exactly.
And his highly developed creativity and ingenuity, that's just the beginning of what he's going to show basically show the world in terms of the movie. So those are kind of the big moments that stood out to me. Funny. It really felt like entertainment.
But it was far more than that.
Of course it's far more than that. But what I'm saying is, it's one of those kind of works of art, we could say, which comes across as entertainment, funny. You sit down, you want to see something dramatic, you want to see something exciting, you want to see something whatever, and it ends up saying so much more without moralizing, without lecturing you. It's that nice balance of really conveying something important without preaching at you. It almost feels like eating a piece of candy in a way. It's in terms of, it's not trying to be healthy at all. It's not pretending, just like he doesn't pretend to have all the music from the era. Not at all. He's like, I'm going to give you everything.
To the contrary. It's to me, it feels like the place where balanced and unbalanced perfectly meet.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
That's how I feel. Balanced and in the same time, very unbalanced. And yet they're there, both of them perfectly.
Look, even this Brunhilde thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is such a classic Germanic legend. Not only that, but speaking of music, Wagner.
It's in Wagner, yeah.
So it's like he's even introducing the next generation to stories and ideas. I wouldn't call it a Wagnerian movie.
No.
But Wagner had a flair for the dramatic. And although this is not a Wagnerian style movie, it does have a sort of weightiness, musical weightiness, and a flair for the dramatic. So even that is like, there's some. Again, it's not trying to preach. It's not saying, oh, it's time for the next generation to learn about Brunhilde and the whole
The legend.
Germanic
Yeah.
legends. It just happens to be that we all learn a little bit about it in the course of this fun bit of entertainment, you know?
Yes.
So he packs a lot in here.
And also back to your idea about the way the Americans, well, I don't feel comfortable saying the Americans were back then, because it was not like everybody was like that, but maybe most of the people down south, let's say this, and the way,
let's say
the
society, the Southern society as a whole.
Yes.
We're
and
not
then,
speaking in terms of individuals. We're
Yes.
speaking in broad terms.
and then the way, I don't feel very comfortable, but I will just use this word. The civilized world fell
Understand,
towards
yeah.
this mentality.
Understand, yeah.
It also stands out in the final moments of Dr. Schultz's life, when he is sitting there while the contract is being written, and he hears Beethoven played, not on the piano, but on harp. So you have harp, one of the most delicate instruments, and then you have Beethoven, which is a cornerstone of the European,
a Germanic composer,
yes.
and Dr. Schultz
and he
is German.
and he is boiling.
Could you please stop playing Beethoven? Take your hands off the harp.
all of this, I mean, they've been putting on this charade all the way through for the sake of accomplishing their agenda, and it was purely to get Brunhilde out of there. But that was the moment that kind of turned it into a whole different mission for
Yes.
him, because it suddenly hit him, you know, I'm done playing. I cannot play
he can't-
anymore.
yes.
He would not.
And
he
then- and
could
then-
have simply shaken hands and walked away. And
But then he moves one step forward with the discussion about Alexandre Dumas and D'Artagnan, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Going
that
back-
was so good.
yes,
I almost
going-
forgot about that.
Going back to the
Yes.
scene with
Uh-huh.
with the dogs, because he just cannot, he can't, and that's why the last thing is that, look, I cannot shake his hand.
Yeah.
That would
Not
be too
even-
much
not
for me as a
even-
human being.
Not even purely as an act to achieve the mission.
Yeah, but at the same time, he doesn't want to jeopardize the future life of the two, of the married couple. So he's squeezed in between.
Yeah.
He could have just, okay, let me shake your hand and let's just move on and we'll forget about this. He can't do it.
Yeah.
So he said, okay. He shoots the guy, and then he turns to the other fellow who comes towards him, and he says,
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
and then he dies.
Yeah.
You know, it's again the clash of between the two mentalities, and
Yeah. So it's an interesting movie.
Every detail very, very
It's all
Thought-
so finely woven together
fine-tuned and
without creating this feeling of a super delicate product at the end.
Yes.
It's really well done. So that's
this
my
is
first Tarantino.
first Amy's introduction. Obviously she wants more, so
I'm curious to see what else he's put out. So
expect some more Tarantino movies to see here on this channel. We'll see you soon.